Alright, I didn't even want to grab the camera for this job because this job's been kicking my ass so much. Too old to be doing this. But the front seal started spewing like hell out of there, covering the whole underside of my car, smoking everywhere. What are you gonna do? If you're like me, you just crawl underneath it and get started. Anyway, I'm getting to the point now where I'm going to try to get this shield out of here, because right up in there, there's no way you can get in here and get those lines loose with that shield in the way. You cut yourself all up. I learned that much before. I'm trying to remember how I did this before. I did a video on rebuilding this whole transmission. It's had tens of thousands of views since I did it about 3 years ago, and I'm surprised now that the seal goes out. But I didn't get into the R&R part before, so I thought I should probably at least film a little bit of this. I've been at it for quite a while. I'm about ready to stop. You can see I've got my jack underneath it. I'm trying to remember how I did this without dropping the tranny right off the thing. And unfortunately I didn't tape it before, and I've kind of forgotten. But this being the 4th generation F-body means that whole big long torque arm there had to come off, so it's bolted up to the rear end back there, and which you can barely see with my flashlight. So 2 big long bolts there. What were they? 7/8. I should at least tell you the right size sockets. I think I was using a 13/16 and a 7/8 on that. There's like a 7/16. Takes the drive shaft out there. I marked my drive shaft because this thing has a high-speed vibration. I guess some of these early drive shafts had a balance issue or something, and who knows, I might have ate up my seal in this thing, because when I'm doing over 80, 90, 100 up in there, thing starts vibrating. Anyway, I got this 3-inch exhaust here, and this cat back, and I'm about ready to try to drop the trance down here, but I'm gonna work on this. See what size socket fits this thing up here. Take this off, it's kind of a pain, but it's got to come off. So there's a bunch of little screws hold it on. Once I see what size this thing is, I can probably turn the camera off and wrestle this thing out of here. But anyway, you got to get the trance down a ways so that you can get the top bolts out, the 2 top bolts that hold the tranny case up against the motor. Alright, so my BaddAzz, it looks like I'm reading a size 7. So it takes a size 7 socket to get these things off. And it's getting kind of late, so I'm kind of running out of light here. Yeah. Shouldn't be doing jobs like this on your back when you're pushing 60. But anyway, I've unbolted the torque converter. That was kind of a pain because I used some Loctite on it when I put those 3 bolts in. What were those? 15s, I think. So I had to come up with a procedure to get each one of 3 of them busted loose, which involved using my hands and my feet. I'll leave it to you guys to figure out how to get those 3 bolts loose if they're really damn tight. You have to use a little ingenuity maybe, or some muscle. I'll still have to get the cooling lines out of here. I've still got to get that big plug, electrical plug out the side that's got all the computer wires going into it. And then I should be able to get the last 2 top bolts that drop this down further, I hope. But something's keeping it. I might have to unbolt some exhaust. I just can't remember. Does anybody remember? Wherever it takes to get the back of the trans to come down a little further. I can't remember which way I had the jack handle facing, if I had it facing under the car or if it was facing under the front of the car. So I don't want to drop the tranny down off the jack if I can help it. That never helps. Plus, I might be able to do the seal by leaving the tranny up on the jack if it won't fall off. Which would be nice because it's a real bitch to get the transmission back onto that jack. I'm telling you what, it is real hard if there's just one of you. So, we'll see how that happens. Maybe I'll have the camera rolling when I do that. It's probably going to be tomorrow because I'm pretty sick of this. But, what else have we done here? I had to take the bolts loose in the front of that torque arm that go into the back of the tranny. There's a big bracket there. There's 3 bolts that go through. So we're talking about this unit right here. And you can see I got a plug in the back there. That to keep the tranny fluid from coming out. I did drain my tranny fluid out here to help a little bit so I don't make this big of a mess. That's my TCI trans plug. That's already failed me once about a year after I did this. That fiber washer right there cracked. Had to take the whole pan off and redo it, and that was a bummer. But I thought it had broke again, but this time I found out even worse. It's coming out from up underneath there. Okay, let's turn this off for now and get this plate out of here. Yeah, well, anyway, so I can't really get on those. What's that there? I got this catalytic converter, this big old cat that I had a guy weld on for me in a muffler shop because it wouldn't pass DEQ. It did the job, but it's kind of hashed on there, but I think I'm going to have to take it loose. Looks like those are 9/16 bolts I used, probably bolt and nut to hold the thing on there, so I don't even know if that's the right size for my tool set. I know I got a 9/16. I used a 9/16 socket, by the way, this wobbly here, to get my bolts, the ones I got so far out of that held the tranny to the motor. So I used the SAE for that anyway. Let's see here. Now let me work on what I need to get this apart now. Well, I went ahead and grabbed some SAE tools. 9/16. I don't know. I guess that's not going to fit there because that blob of weld is stuck there. Let's see. So I got these ants running across my cardboard on the driveway. I hope they're not the biting kind. I can hear sound of bees. It sounds like bees in the hedge next to me. I hope they don't swarm me. Yeah, if they do, I hope, jeez. Hope I catch it on camera. Maybe I'll get some views that way, huh? Of course, then I'll try to monetize the thing, and then the YouTube police will probably bust me because somebody's copyrighted the sound of bees or something. Music corporation or something. I tell you, you can't even, if you want to monetize your videos, you can't even have a radio playing softly in the background. They'll gig you and they'll toss your video into perdition somewhere where nobody can find it. Alright, this doesn't seem to be working so good. Well, I can see this is going to take a while, so might as well shut her off again. Alright. Well, it looks like I got the tranny down a little further now that I got the exhaust undone. And I was able to get my wrench in here. You can see it. And I just used the open end part I was able to break these loose, so I'm gonna take these things loose and drip tranny fluid all over the place. Try to capture as much as I can. You know how it goes. And then there's that thing right here, big wiring harness thing. I got to unplug that. There's a little thing up there, that another little nut I got to take loose. Let me get all this done now. All right, here we go. Another day. I have did some checking. Just says squeeze the thing, and sure enough, let's look at this. I grab it fore and aft, squeezing on these edges, and I get the connector out. Also up above, I took a number 8 right there to take that little screw out, and also beware of hurting your oil pressure sending unit. And I remember another Camaro I had that had a broke one, and it had a transmission replaced in it. So I look up in here and I see way up in there, I see clearance up in there anyhow. And nothing's touching the firewall. So far I'm not worried about breaking an oil pressure sending unit at this point, but they said to be aware of it. So next I'm going to check some access to my upper bolts, bell housing bolts. Oh, we got something else plugging up topside here. Alright, something else right up here. Yeah, it's on the other side of the tranny. Okay, let's take care of that wire too while we're at it. Okay, so I'm over here and I see that it's just another screw right there. Another number 8. Take it out. Also, looking up above, up in here, I can see right up in there the oil pressure sending unit, and it is very close from this angle. It's very close to the firewall. I will not drop the transmission down any further. I have to get at those top bolts up there, which you can barely see. So I'm going to try to get those bolts out with it at this angle and not hurt that. Over here we see the shifter cable dangling. Just 2 bolts held it in. Down here this was just clipped on. Took a screwdriver and just pulled that loose from the ball right here. And then I unhooked this out of the speedo cinder right there. So those are just hanging there, and here's the rest of the mechanism that the front of the torque bar was slid into here. Okay, now to see if I can get at those 2 top bolts. I should be able to get them out because I've had them out once before, so I don't have to worry about them being stuck in there by the factory. Okay, I got the top one, and I got one on the side here that's hard to get at. I'm going to try to go ahead and get on it and bust it loose with my 3/8 drive here, using my 9/16 wobbly on the end. Okay, I broke loose that other top bolt. I was able to use my, it's about a 2-foot long 3/8 extension. I didn't have to break out the 1/2-inch drive stuff like I had to do the first time because the bolt was in so tight. Okay, now it's just this bolt here right there. So I need to I'm going to slowly take it out. I don't know how well I'm balanced on my jack here. My little board underneath my tranny. The idea, I think it's too far back myself. The idea is to try to balance it and drop this thing down without it falling. I may have to try to do some adjustments here. Okay, let me think about this one for a bit. Okay, I probably should have took a Tums before attempting this, but I've repositioned the jack yet again. God, it still just seems... They've got that big heavy torque converter on there and it's full of oil. And it's going to make the tranny, front of the tranny want to go down, I think. Anyway, I'm going to get back to work on this one last remaining bolt holding it in place. The tranny is sitting on the jack now. Torque converter is loose. I did reach over there and I pulled out the dipstick tube because I saw how it was going to be a problem. It didn't take much to just grab it and pull it straight up out of its little grommet. This tranny's out right now. It's, look at that, it's balanced. Alright, don't Don't fall on me. There's my little, I don't know if you can see my little mount there, little red mount. I don't know if that helped. It's a really solid mount there that probably helps to transmit vibrations through this thing, but whatever. Coming down. Alright, we got some cooler lines. Alright, I see the tranny's starting to rotate. Got some cooler lines right there. What we got going on over here on the other side? Alright, I'm over here on this side checking out these cooler lines. Wow, that transmission. Man, oh man, I think it's going to come off backwards now. I don't like that. I don't know. The thing is balanced on the jack. I got this big thicker board I put underneath the pan there. Took another board out of there that I had. Let's take a look up front here. See, she's free and clear. Alright, you can see that she's free and clear. Coming down. It's turning. It's got a little bit of. Alright. Cooler lines are running a little bit there. Let's get up. Here. There you go, boys and girls. The jack is all the way down. There it sits. Now I'm going to turn the camera off and take a short break before I pull the torque converter out. Guess you didn't see a whole lot of that, did you? Well, there the tranny is right there. Sitting there. Torque converter next.